this is like one of the oldest marketing tricks in the book. So we had a product that went out earlier this year, after all the time to make it. And what we did was we actually sent this product out, and then we left like a few empty slots in this nice gift box that we gave them. And then for the whole time, for the beginning of this year that we were pushing the traffic out for this particular product, we were stacking the emails, stacking all the leads, like getting them already on SMS leads, Manychat leads for the bot leads, the email leads. And we essentially made a product that was going to complement this product and fill out the box that they already had. So we started a big pre-launch this year. So I mean, it's like one of the oldest things in the book, isn't it? It's like, you know, you get like a coin collection. Like the first product's going to be break even. You're going to do a coin collection. You're going to open a box, and the person that made this for you probably not made any money on that box, but they know that they're going to have zero media spend. So we've done like a 100-grand launch this week, just solely zero media spend, purely through having these empty slots in the boxes, teeing up all these different sequences with these different bits of leads and data that we found from various touch points, you know, whether it was mobile, email, our Facebook Manychat box. And we just crushed this sequence this week. Zero media spend, due to do probably 100 grand by the end of the weekend, with, you know, no media spend from a product. And that is just like a tester of what we can do with this before we like put it up to scale.
Hello, and welcome to DTC, the direct-to-consumer podcast by Pilot House. Today, we are lucky to be joined by Jordan and Oliver Lamb from Bokashi Steel Knives. Today, we're talking pre-sales funnel for e-com, as well as big partnerships with some really existing legacy brands. And we are with our resident CRO expert and Pilot House co-founder, Kyle Hitchcox, as well as head of partnerships, Dan Norcia. Now, Jordan Lamb has been in the performance marketing game for over a decade, starting with Teespring and evolving into high-quality commerce by joining forces with his brother Oliver to create a line of equally high-quality chef's knives with Bokashi Steel. Together, they've built the brand into an 8-figure beast by building a world-class product and brand, and by leveraging really high-converting pre-sales content. Now, before we jump in, please take a moment to go to direct2consumer.co and sign up for a free newsletter. We have one going out as we speak. We're just about to hit the send on our third newsletter, and people are opening it at a massive rate. We're now up to over 1,500 subscribers. We take the insights from this podcast every week. We distill them down into quick hit insights that you can walk away with and apply to your campaigns right away, as well as amazing insights that we generate from the Pilot House agency. So go to direct2consumer.co right now and sign up for a free newsletter. You're going to love it. On with the cast. So welcome to DTC, Lambros. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. I appreciate you having us here. This is pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah,
I was a few of your previous podcast shows, and they're pretty awesome. So yeah, it's definitely exciting to be here.
Awesome to be here. This is actually like one of our first podcasts as well. So you know, you're breaking the cherry there.
Very good. Well, it's not my first. We'll be gentle. So. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about your story? You sent me over a write-up that has sort of the full story, and I wanted to get into this. This is a very common story, I think, with people in our space, and we'd love to see it. When people start out by grinding, starting out by figuring out whatever's going to work.
The hustle. What's the hustle?
What's the hustle? And then evolving it into a high-quality form and then using the things that you learned during the hustle on the high-quality product. So why don't you tell us a little about that story?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I'll go all the way back to, I just come back from Australia, did the whole like 2 years traveling thing, and, had great fun, but came back broke as shit. Good times. Tried to go back to university to learn like web design and web coding. They essentially didn't give me the grant for, university. So I was like 4 months into the term, and then they fired me, kicked me out, said I couldn't come back. So essentially I just, rented a place in London, which is super expensive. I was paying rent of like $3,000 a month, had no money. Meanwhile, the girl I met in Australia, she was in America. That's why I'm in Tampa, Florida now. She went on a marketer's cruise and took down a bunch of notes, guys talking about, selling t-shirts on Facebook. So, you know, she gave me a bunch of notes on a little bit of paper, did tons of research, just researched everywhere with Google, came across, you know, Donald Wilson, you know, Don Wilson.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Redbubble or?
he
Gear
does
Bubble.
Gear Bubble.
Yeah, Gear Bubble, that's right.
But back then he had a Facebook group called the Laboratory. So he was kind of like at the forefront of all this t-shirt marketing, you know, selecting niches and running stupid like cat t-shirts, dog t-shirts, you know, you've seen them everywhere before. And yeah, so got started with that. Didn't really have any money to start up, and Facebook ads weren't really kind of a thing then. They were there, they just weren't really being utilized for this kind of marketing. So I think I must have reached out. This is back when organic marketing was really good. You know, you would do a post on a page and it would reach 100% of the audience, which is great. So I basically got onto Teespring, worked up some designs, and reached out to about 1,000 Facebook pages, you know, asking if they wanted to collaborate and sell my t-shirt designs. I think out of 1,000, one got back to me. Everyone else thought I was just a scammy dude. So this one that got back to me though, he owned a page called Fitness and Power. I actually had like 1.2 million followers at the time. So I'm completely broke as shit, you know, just winging it at the time, sent him some t-shirt designs, said we'll go 50-50 if he promotes it on his page. The first t-shirt we promoted, after about 2 weeks, we'd done about 35,000 in sales. So obviously I've gone from like this broke guy in London, couldn't do anything. And I've just slung up this t-shirt on Facebook and made $35,000.
How did you hit, what was the niche and what was the, like, what made it touch a nerve?
So we were, it was a fitness and power. So it was like a bodybuilding page. And the first t-shirt we ran was a t-shirt that said like installing muscles with like a little loading bar. Ridiculous. Nice. I would never wear it, but it worked like wildfire. So we carried on doing that for a while. You know, launched a bunch of designs, and then about 5 months later, Facebook decided they want to put more focus on the Facebook ads platform, and organic reach went down to like 5%. So we kept like slinging up t-shirts, and it just wasn't working. You know, that we couldn't reach enough people to get sales to make it worthwhile. So that was kind of a scary moment because I'd just gone from earning, you know, tons of money, which was great from being broke, and then kind of having to figure it all out again from scratch. So that's kind of when we went into Don Wilson's lab group, and obviously he was talking about a lot of strategies for, you know, Facebook advertising and selling these t-shirts through Facebook ad platform. So spent, you know, a while learning that. And back then it was, you know, the scraper tools. I'm not sure if you remember the Facebook scrapers. So we got into the name t-shirts, which were incredible. So we would just scrape people's first names, last names, stupid t-shirts like Eric, the man, the myth, the legend, whatever. People loved them. So rinsed that for about 6 months. Kind of regret I should have gone a lot harder, built a team, but I was just doing it all by myself. Still managed to earn, you know, a couple 100,000, which was incredible to me at the time. And then again, got slapped with the ban on the scrapers. So earned all this money again and was kind of back to square one. I never really personally had too much success with like the niches selling t-shirts, like dogs, cats and all that. We had a few, you know, winners here and there. But I kind of spent the next year just struggling, basically. Just, I couldn't get anything to work. I'd spent all the money that I'd earned from the name t-shirts and was back to square one, ready to get a 9-to-5 job. I was about to give up pretty much. So I was down to about, you know, my last $10,000 in the bank. And I decided to jump onto Trailer Welling's coaching program. So went through that, was incredible, completely opened my eyes up to, you know, how an e-commerce business should be run. You know, and that's when we got introduced into funnels, building email lists and, you know, finding the right avatar and what they actually want to buy rather than just trying to sling shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
He made the flashlights. I actually introduced him on stage at an iStack event in 2017. Kyle was there as well. And I was really impressed with him as a person. He's just such a vibrant, like, you know,
great
powerful
guy.
person.
Great talk.
He made his mark with those flashlights you can see from space.
Which brand was this? Was it Vulcan?
I think it was Lumen or something.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, it was like the 10x flashlights, but I think they got in a spot of trouble for those, did they not? Because it was like
I believe
like
the Cree light bulbs or something. I think they had some legal trouble with that as they were using the official light bulbs.
Anyway, but so he sort of advocated this idea of not just running products to a product page, but really building out that sort of pre-sales experience to kind of walk people into it. And that's really what you took from him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so building out funnels, having the ability to capture an email before actually sending them to the order form, and then how to build out a back end to nurture them emails and warm them up into your brand. Also from like a branding perspective as well, because we were just drop shipping crap, not really having any real brand to build a foundation on. So that made a huge difference as well.
Very cool. So let's talk Bokashi. How did that come together? How did you decide on knives for, your foray into like high quality e-commerce?
You want to take this one on?
So yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of stemmed out of where mine and Jordan's our kind of partnership started. So he was kind of coming to me like, he was like, oh, I'm doing all these Teespring campaigns. He's like, I made $100,000 in like a month. I was like, no, I was like, no way. I was like, that's bullshit. I was like, this is not happening. He was like, look, just try it out. He was like, look, take the chef's niche. He was like, just give it a go, like start some t-shirts. So I started a fan page, Twisted Chef on Facebook, slapped up a t-shirt of my own while I was working as a chef. So, I was doing like the hard grind. I was working, 12 to 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. And it was absolutely killing me. I slapped up this t-shirt with just a little chef meme on, go cry in the walk-in, it said, and it got copied a bunch of times. And I made like 20 to 30 grand in the first like 2 weeks of running this t-shirt. It was like insane. So I walked in, handed my notice in, quit my job. And then kind of same thing Jordan was saying, the t-shirts kind of dried up. So we were kind of like, what do we do next? Where do we go? Jordan was running like a fishing Shopify store. We're like selling like fishing gear. So I was like, okay, I'll find some stuff on AliExpress. So kind of just real like crap, like absolute Chinese crap, like plastic garlic peelers, like avocado slicing tools, like everyone's seeing the adverts, like the viral, like tasty adverts, just absolutely rubbish. We were paying like 50 cents on the dollar to like get this stuff over, and we were doing the free plus shipping, charging like 10-15 bucks shipping, and tons of chargebacks, tons of refunds, tons of problems came with it. And that's kind of when we kind of realized we had a couple of knives like up on our store, and they were the only things that were kind of selling well. And I'm very familiar with all the knife brands, all the big brands that are out there, and it was never really like a thing where we thought we could compete with these brands online. But the problem with these brands is they are not established online. They're not on Facebook. They are now, but back then they weren't on Facebook. They weren't on Instagram. So there was a real opening in the market. So we saw that the chef knives were selling really well for us, and we were like, hell, let's just white label a chef's knife and see what happens. And that was kind of the birth of Bokashi. We went through a list of Japanese words to like kind of find like what we wanted our meaning to be, like really develop the brand, spend some time getting the logo done. And we launched it 4 or 5 years ago now, and it took off instantly. Really started booming like straight away out the gate. And that's when we kind of started incorporating the brand mentality of building lists, building a solid customer base, and actually, driving a brand forward with a solid product that we could stand behind. But of course, that came with its own problems after the first 2 years of running with just a white label product, which wasn't truly our own. Loads of issues with it. We got a year down the line thinking we'd sold a solid product, and we started getting all these refunds and people coming back and saying like, oh, this has happened, this has had a chip, this has got a blemish or whatever. So then we're doing these high ticket refunds, and that was killing us as well. So we then decided we needed to go on a bit of a journey and be like, okay, like how can we find a solid product, a proper legitimate supplier that is going to supply us with a product that when we get to the consumer, we can stand behind it. They're going to give it a 5-star rating, and then we can leverage that to actually, drive the brand forward to where it is now.
And especially if you're trying to sell into that professional market, which I assume you guys are starting to touch now.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that was it. It
every
was
day.
kind of like, it was like, how can we, so like the Kaishuns, the Wusthoffs, the really big brands, the globals that are out there, they had no online establishment, but they're huge in the kitchen world. So that was our biggest challenge, was overcoming that kind of trust factor of like, someone, you know, we're putting a knife in front of someone and saying, hey, you gotta, you know, you're gonna give us $200 for this, and they're like, well, we've never heard of you, you know, we've heard of all these other major brands. So that was kind of the hardest task, was the actual converting people into customers and getting them to trust us. And that's where we knew we needed a solid product that we could stand behind, you know. And yeah, I mean, it's worked wonders for us.
Nice. What does Bokashi mean?
What does Bokashi mean? So Bokashi is a form of composting and recycling. So when we actually were looking through the brand names and deciding what we wanted to come up with, we were looking at like kind of like organic and natural, you know, natural materials that we were putting inside yeah. So we have like a natural packwood handle, you know, it's all like naturally sourced steels, and they're all like kind of like ancient methods of forging and techniques of sharpening the knives. So we kind of went for this, and we kind of found out a bit later that the meaning is actually to do with this Japanese form of composting, but you know, it stuck. It was too late to change the name. People love it, so we kind of we play on that organic road.
That's perfect.
We tried to abbreviate it a couple of times, so there's nothing we could come up with.
I wanted to ask, just as a chef, like what goes into making a really high quality knife?
Sure. So, I mean, if you're looking at knives as a chef and as a professional chef in a kitchen, there's really two main types of knives. You have your German knives, which are like old school knives. They're heavy duty, they're thick, they weigh a ton. They use metals that are really really hard and really durable. Problem with these knives is they are a pain in the ass to sharpen for the home consumer. So unless you know how to use, you know, like a proper grinding stone or a proper whetstone, and you have all the gear to do it, it is like really hard to get these. Once the edge is gone, you know, you need a pro to sharpen it, or you need to figure it out yourself. The Japanese chef knives are a much softer steel. They're a folded layer steel, generally with the Damascus, which means that they sharpen, you know, few runs over a sharpening steel diamond edge, and you've got like a razor edge every time. The downside to that being that they go blunt quicker. So it's kind of like trying to find the balance that we wanted from a German knife and a Japanese steel knife. So that's with our Kasai series. We kind of came up with a knife that's a bit thicker. It's a lot thicker than most Japanese chef knives, a lot heavier as well. And we also made it 0.6 of an inch longer. So it's a much more durable blade. It's much thicker, and it lasts a lot longer on the edge. Now a knife like this from like Kaishun is going to cost you like $300. So we managed to, you know, go to the source, take all the fluff out of it, and find a supplier where we could get these kind of produced at a price where we could, you know, give it to the consumer at, you know, an affordable price.
Are Japanese knives only sharpened on one side? That's something I heard a while ago. I don't know if that's true.
So that's like that would be like a sushi knife, like a sashimi knife or a nigiri knife. So that's a single bevel blade knife, like Kamakoto is like a similar brand like ours, and they specialize in single bevel knives. We're a double bevel blade, which means we have an edge on both sides, so you have to sharpen both sides. Whereas the single bevel, you just have to sharpen the one side. Mostly used for like if you're trying to get a really fine cut on something, you know, so like when they're doing the sashimi for the nigiri, or like cutting the salmon or the tuna like wafer thin, that's when you would use like a single bevel blade.
Cool. Nice. Well, it's good to geek out on knives. I want to shift a little bit and geek out on funnels.
Geek out
on funnels. So like talk a little bit about some of your first funnels that you built, and how you knew that this was going to be the approach to sell these knives.
Sure. Well, you know, basically again, taking Trey's concepts, you know, and how he sets up his funnels. You know, we've mainly focused on Facebook traffic. That's kind of been our specialty. So that's where we, you know, we really like to educate the customer through the advertising, especially now with, you know, Facebook. Video is obviously a real good way to educate the customer on the product first, so that when we actually get them through to the funnel, we can really focus on the actual action of conversion. So we normally send them straight to a kind of like a lead generation sales page. So we can educate them a bit more on the product, and then capture their email and contact information. And we normally do this by super incentivizing, because we sending them to a straight sales page generally has a higher conversion rate than if you try and get the lead first. So we really super incentivize them to give that lead. So we would use a high discount. One we use on the knife is a high discount, a recipe book.
Yeah, like a free, we put together like a free recipe binder where we have so I took a bunch of my recipes from back in the chef days and put it into like a PDF, like a cool PDF, get all the graphics done. And then that's like one of the main incentives. And it's surprising actually, if, we've had it on there for so long that if anything ever happens with the delivery of that, we kind of forget about it, and people still do reach out and they say, hey, where's my free PDF? So trying to find like digital incentives on that opt-in has really been a key for us to get, super cheap leads with those initial opt-in forms.
Is that like the core hook, like the core, like your pre-sale, your sales copy content, or is that more of like a pop-up over your store?
Yeah, so we normally do have more of a sales page, layout with, and the button would have the incentivized offers, and there would be a pop-up essentially once they click that button. So we've tried having the opt-in just on the page without the pop-up, but for some reason the pop-up always converts better for us. So yeah, it's just a super incentivized lead, because obviously we're already paying for this traffic. We still want them to buy our product. But we also don't want to have any leakage. We need to get that lead as well. So providing you incentivize it enough, people will always opt in. I mean, we were still getting opt-ins for like 60 to 80% on that sales page. It was insane. We incentivized it so much. Plus, we gave a giveaway as well. So it'd be like a recipe book at the discount, and then maybe like a chance to win. You don't necessarily want to do a chance to win the product you're trying to sell, but something alongside that can maybe complement
a free chef roll bag or like something like that. And
kind of nuts as well. Enter them into a giveaway for the product you're trying to sell, they generally just, they opt in, they just hope for the best that they're going to win that product.
Totally. I've seen that too. I think Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question for you guys.
Follow your stuff.
Would you say have you tested other angles other than just like straight up education on the product? Like, have you found success with anything else?
So it's funny. So the funnel we actually run now is still the first funnel that we ran, when we first started using funnels. We've spent thousands of dollars. We brought on designers, people that, no, they're doing, they said they had these crazy flows. They built us these awesome sales pages out. Just do not convert the same. Simplicity for us has just always been the way to go. Just super simple, really basic incentive, like Jordan said, like a giveaway or something. Really simple. We always feel like if you give too much information on sales pages, they generally just turn people away, especially with a kind of a product like ours. So we try and get that message across more in the marketing than at the sales page level.
I mean, we're still big believers in design and custom CSS to make it look professional, but we like to keep it super clean, super simple to get the message across.
And I would assume that having a really high quality product obviously helps with that sales cycle.
Yeah, it speaks for itself. The delivery of the message, the ad, showing people that this is a high-end product and that it can be trusted is kind of the key to making sure you convince that person to be a customer before they actually hit your sales page, rather than convincing them with information overload on the sales page.
You have to put a lot of emphasis on the creative for your your traffic, like on Facebook. If you're not putting enough effort into that and educating the customer, convincing them to buy,
do you use social proof like on the landing pages and in the ads?
Yeah. Absolutely. Reviews. We've run many review ads. I know, I don't know if you know much about Ezra Firestone's stuff, but he does a lot of review style creatives for Boom by Cindy Joseph, that brand.
Testimonial mashups, things like that.
Yeah.
We have our looks review widgets, actually on the landing pages, so that all our reviews are actually live on the page.
Very cool. And you hit another cool thing that sounds like it's from the Trey Llewellyn school, which is just like stack that offer, like really stack the offer, whether it's, you know, your free download, you get your discount, you get a chance to win. I think that's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, it's like perceived value. Like trying to make the perceived value is just like, this is huge. Like, you know, and, you know, we play on the scarcity angles of, you know, this is not going to last long. And we have, you know, like a stock counter and stuff. So, you know, a few of the like typical marketing techniques that you know people use, but
we like to mark up the product quite a lot so that we can give quite an aggressive discount as well. Obviously it's a little tougher when your product can be bought everywhere else, like on Amazon, or, you know, because people can compare the price. But when you have something a bit more unique like what we have, we like to, you know, mark the price up quite a bit so we can give that real aggressive discount. And the only way they can receive that discount is if they, you know, give us their lead information.
I think that's where the branding kind of comes in a lot as well. Is like most people, you know, they find something on AliExpress and they white label it. They don't really put any effort into. So like we were looking at our branding and our packaging, and we were like, how can we elevate this? So, you know, we had like a nice polishing cloth with like all the logos, like silk polishing cloth. We had all these like nice manuals and inserts like put into the box so that we could actually show that we were more than just a product, that we're an actual brand, and we're going to sell you something. We're going to look after you as a customer.
How did you find like stacking? We love stacking offers, free offers, giveaways, all that stuff.
Bundles and stuff.
Love it. Like
yeah,
stack them up. But we find like with a lot of clients that it's a branding issue. But it sounds like you've done a good job creating like a high value brand, but still offering, you know, the typical like, you know, old school direct to consumer kind of like, but wait, there's more, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you go about that? I think it's a good mix of both. Yeah. What was your, like, what's your process? Where did you land on that?
Just kind of testing stuff. We just, you know, we're always like, you know, throwing stuff out there, constantly looking and researching for different ideas of what we can add that won't be too much, you know, cost to us, but, you know, can build up that stack.
Yeah, like again, going back to the perceived value, you know, I think the inserts for like our product, they cost what, and they were like, it's cost us like, you know, like 50 cents to put these inserts in, but the perceived value so something we've done very well, I would say, and you don't see this a lot, is we have not been tight when it comes to things like our photography and our imagery, and actually sending our products to someone that knows what they're doing and getting professional imagery done, it all laid out, getting the proper lifestyle shots and the proper stills. So that, you know, may cost us, you know, $700-800 for like a couple of plain white background shots, but that from a branding standpoint, people notice that stuff straight away. And that's the first thing I notice when I go
people connect visually. It's super.
Yeah. If you go to a Shopify store and they just have, you know, like some cheap crap from China, and you can see straight away just purely from the effort they put into actually, you know, displaying the products.
And what about your funnels? So you guys are obviously, you know, big on funnels. What tools you're using? Are you doing one-click upsells? What's that look like?
Mainly actually using ClickFunnels. So we're still, we've always used ClickFunnels, and then we have that tied in to our Shopify store with App Trends. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we can still do all the continuity, you know, and have that super easily integrated with our Shopify store. We just like ClickFunnels. You know, we're super familiar with the page builder. You know, it's quick for us to do edits and, you know, put stuff up pretty quickly and test.
So you're using ClickFunnels, but you're pushing the data and then managing your inventory, your customers through Shopify.
Yeah. So we love to keep our kind of main brand hub on Shopify. So the main domain would be on Shopify, and then we would have you know, the funnels on a subdomain. Obviously, Shopify is better for things like SEO as well. You know, ClickFunnels is pretty crap for that. So
totally.
Yeah. And then we have like Klaviyo on the back end for our, you know, our email CRM. So, you know, it's been a combination that's worked wonders for us. So.
Nice. I wanted to ask, so you were saying 60 to 70% on that front end. Our newsletter right now is converting at about 50% on the landing page, which I'm really psyched about. But you get that really high conversion rate on the front end to get that email rate. Then let's talk about your back end flow through Klaviyo. What conversion rates are you finding you're able to achieve over sort of what period of time and with what strategies on the back end?
Yeah, so, you know, we like to bring people in with like kind of like a welcome nurture flow. So, you know, for the people that didn't purchase, and this is all segmented on the back end depending on what actions people also took during the funnel. So we have a nice welcome nurture flow that kind of builds them up to the brand, makes them feel comfortable. And then obviously we offer them some real nice incentivized offers to get them to buy into our brand as well. I mean, yeah, I mean, we still get.
I mean, pretty much what we're doing right now. So we this is kind of like nearly a year in the making as well. And so we were like, okay, what can we do? And this is like one of the oldest marketing tricks in the book. So we had a product that went out earlier this year after all the time to make it. And what we did was we actually sent this product out, and then we left like a few empty slots in this nice gift box that we gave them. And then for the whole time, for the beginning of this year that we were pushing the traffic out for this particular product, we were stacking the emails, stacking all the leads, like getting them already on SMS leads, Manychat leads for the bot leads, the email leads. And we essentially made a product that was going to complement this product and fill out the box that they already had. So we started a big pre-launch this year. So, I mean, it's like one of the oldest things in the book, isn't it? It's like, you know, you get like a coin collection. Like the first product's going to be break even. You're going to do a coin collection. You're going to open a box, and the person that made this for you probably not made any money on that box, but they know that they're going to have zero media spend. So we've done like a 100-grand launch this week, just solely zero media spend, purely through having these empty slots in the boxes, teeing up all these different sequences with these different bits of leads and data that we found from various touch points, you know, whether it was mobile, email, our Facebook, Manychat bots. And we just crushed this sequence this week. Zero media spend, due to do probably 100 grand by the end of the weekend, with, you know, no media spend from a product. And that is just like a tester of what we can do with this before we like put it up to scale.
How often are you able to do that without burning your list or pissing customers off?
Well, so the way we did it is the people that initially bought the first product, they were pushed into an email list of their own. So essentially what we would do now is we've run this test, we've essentially exhausted all the stock, and probably we only got, for the second round, we didn't know how well it was going to work. It's turned out it's worked really well. So we only actually got half the amount of stock we needed for what we sold in the first round. So essentially we can do what we just done again. And then what we'll do is we'll just reset it. We'll go back. We'll do the first round all over again for the back end of the year through Christmas and Q4, you know, double it up, triple it up, whatever we want to do. And then do the same again in the second half of the year. So it takes a bit longer, and it's obviously one of them kind of like strategies and plans where you need to know that you have the cash flow to carry yourself over, because if you sell, you know, 200 grand's worth of product to break even, that can be really tough from like media spend aspect. So we knew that this was the plan, and we took a bit of a gamble, but it paid off. And
I think it was kind of nice where you know, we if we were to sell that full set on the front end with Facebook traffic, we might just break even on it because it's such a high priced product. So, you know, from an ads perspective, we might break even, but what we did manage to do was break even on just the single knife and then sell all that product.
Yeah. Just by building the excitement and like just gearing
like
everyone
hyped them
up,
up.
Got them excited about it. It was
so we've been hyping them up for like 2 months through like, you know, like an email a week, kind of warming them up, getting them excited, so that we knew that when they hit the warehouse, that they were going to fly up.
Yeah.
You can
And
tell
literally did like launch date.
You can tell brothers, you're just
we keep cutting each other off. Yeah, like shout.
Who beat when you were kids?
We're fighting for attention.
That's it, you know, like me and Jordan, we've always been super competitive, and that, I think that's kind of like what's made us like so successful, is when we stopped kicking the shit out of each other and stopped being competitive with each other, we were like, right, who's out there, who's better than us, who's bigger than us, regardless of age or status, and what can we do to get to that level, and how can we like, you know, chase other people like that, rather than me and him taking it out on each other.
Yeah,
that's cool. So just a quick question, going back to like offline stuff, like once people get the product in hands, are you guys doing anything to try to improve organic sharing on that side of things? Like, for example, you know, a good idea might be to include a couple of postcards that are pre-stamped that people can just send to friends, like, hey, check out this knife, here's a discount on it, it's one of the best knives.
Yeah, I was about to say, we do a refer a friend, you know, card insert into the thing for like a discount. So that works really well.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we have our we have a post-purchase email flow set up that's like 10 emails after you've become one of our customers, and that has various things of like we have a referral program set up, so like email freeze, like, you know, join our referral program, 30, 40 sets, postscripts. Yeah, we have a bunch of different flows that kind of go out after the purchase. So
that's we're actually using reversion on Shopify to, you know, a nice app where people can sign up for their own affiliate portal, and they can track all the sales they've made, all the payouts are automatic. So we're actually utilizing Instagram a lot more now for, you know, influencer marketing, setting them up with a reversion link. And they use that all the time, and, you know, it gets us a ton of sales. So that works really well.
That's very cool. You mentioned SMS and Manychat, and I just wanted to know your sort of like, are you guys sort of in everything all the time, or do you have very, like, in terms of how you reach people on omni-channel, or do you have more specific sort of like purposes for each of these channels? I know with SMS you can't overuse it, right? Can you talk a little bit about that strategy?
Manychat and SMS are really strictly for things like this. I mean, I know we're looking into like using it for like abandoned cart sequences and stuff like that right now, but like you said, it's a much more intimate you know, form of reaching someone, and it's not whereas email, you can blast people 3-4 times a week. You know, if you're messaging someone on Facebook or SMS more than once every 2-3 months, they're going to unsubscribe, you know, quicker than anything. So them two are definitely reserved for stuff like this, when we do these kind of launches, these kind of product launches, and they kill it like off the bat. Jordan sent an SMS earlier to this product launch, and like in 10 minutes it just absolutely blows up. Like, it's insane how quick it is. But
about 6,000 in 10 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so SMS,
but naturally they have a much bigger burnout rate.
But you do have to obviously be careful with SMS. There is you know, a lot of laws you know, on how you can do it. So someone has to physically accept that you're going to be sending them SMS. Whereas email, you can be a bit more shady. But yeah, SMS, you have to be a lot more strict. There's a lot more regulations.
Yeah, no, I think it's something that a lot of people want to get into.
Yeah. By shady, you mean compliant.
That's it.
Right.
But edgy.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're saying
borderline.
You're saying all these things that pique our memory from back in our day that we just like, we don't talk about those anymore.
Yeah. I mean, me and John have got a few of those Shopify stores that we just don't ever mention. Bokashi is our baby, and we stick with that.
Your timeline of events, like with the t-shirts and all that. I was working at an affiliate network, and like what you're talking about, our traffic was like swinging the same way as your business too.
It's, there's things that we shall not speak of.
Which is stressful. And it's funny, you mentioned this earlier, like you made whatever it was, 20, 30, 40 grand in that 1 month, and then it's like you're on top of the world. And then it's like the next month when you don't make that, even if you make
you get desperate,
enough to live on, you're just sort of like, oh shit, I'm losing money. You know,
we're never going to get back there.
I was super young and stupid. Obviously, I started earning more money than I've ever earned in my life. So I was just blowing it. I was like, yeah, next month will be fine. I'm going to earn another 40, another 100. And then when that's
on holiday, smash some beers.
I went to Dubai. My dad was living in Dubai at the time, and I spent 20 grand in 2 weeks thinking, oh, this is like the name campaign t-shirts on Teespring.
Eric and I, Eric and I started our career together at a network, and you know, our lifeblood was affiliates, right? And we must have seen 500, you know, super affiliates just disappear. Like they're probably watching
the face of the
they bought the rims, they bought the car, and they were partying, they were in Vegas, and it's just
definitely.
Like, where are they now?
We were knocking on that door at least 7 or 8 times in the last few years. Then we sorted it out. You know, and that's what it was. Yeah, it was just sticking to something that we were like, okay, let's just stop jumping on every trend, stop setting up 5 stores a week. Let's just stick behind our brand and our product and go for it.
That's been very important. Yeah, just focus. I mean, You know, it's so easy. There's so many opportunities out there, and when you jump about, it just creates distractions.
I was going to say, I just was listening to Dave Gerhardt, who's quite an influencer on the LinkedIn and Twitter space in this D2C world. And he was saying that one of the ways you know you have a brand is if people will buy merch. And so I see on your site that you've got some merch.
We actually sold a bunch of t-shirts today, and it always makes me laugh when people actually buy, because I look at it and I've got a bunch of it at home and I wear it because it's my brand. And I never assume people will buy it. And whenever I saw a t-shirt sale, literally just before we got on, I was like, that's brilliant. I love that people are actually out there wearing our brand, and, you know, they've got them. Yeah, they got the name on it. They're probably in the kitchen with a cap on. He's got his Bokashi knife. He's chopping up some onions. He's loving life.
Yeah, and it shows you when you invest deeply into one brand, you build up this product, it attracts, you know, it has this power to attract other amazing things like this green egg situation. Why don't we talk a little bit about what you guys are doing with green egg?
Sure. Yeah. So big green egg. So we got some partners, some investors on board for the Bokashi brand. You know, it's a very expensive product. So we got to the point where if we really wanted to scale up, we had to, you know, get some cash flow into the business. So one of them partners, actually, he's best friends with the CEO of Big Green Egg. We didn't know this at the start, you know, of the relationship. So he came across, he put it out there that we got some super nice knives, and, you know, he was good to run with it. Like he got the samples, loved the knives, and, you know, we came to an agreement that we'd do like kind of like a co-branded, you know, knife that we were already selling. So one of the benefits for them as well, though, is they wanted us to obviously run the traffic and gain them more exposure as well, because they weren't that good at, you know, social media marketing.
Yeah, it's more that they have such a high ticket product as well that they can't exactly like scale on Facebook, you know.
Tell people what it is if they don't know it. I'm familiar with it. It's that iconic barbecue that seals, right? The big.
So it's like an egg shaped. You know, there's a few brands out there. They're definitely the biggest and the best. I think there's like Komodo Joe, and there's a couple of other ones. So there's a big ceramic, and I think they originate from like Asia somewhere, and they were used because they have like a really thick ceramic like wall. So these things, like, they burn are like stupid hot. Like, you put a bit of coal in the bottom, they keep all the heat in. They burn super hot, and because they're in like an egg-shaped tunnel, all the heat pushes up through the top, and that's why they're like great for the smoking and the cooking. So they rage super hot. So if you're like cooking, if you're not using it for like smoking, if you're using it like for a barbecue, these things get so hot that if you've got like a nice big fat ribeye steak or like a strip loin, you put that steak on, you close the lid, it seals so quickly because it's so hot, you know. Like if you were sealing a wound, that all that moisture and all that, you know, juice and flavor just, it's like stuck inside the meat. And they form like these beautiful bars. I mean, if you see some of the video, if you go on our Instagram and look at some of the videos, so like we have a bunch of ambassadors, and they actually make like recipes now using the knives, and it's really cool to see the knives in action with these eggs. And some of the food they come out, these things is insane.
And they're a hidden giant. You were saying that they've like quietly done, what was it, 80 million, you think?
I think they have a run rate, of about like 80 million in revenue each year.
And imagine what they can do partnered with a group like you guys, right? With actual funnels and actual know-how. And that's what's so exciting to me about this whole D2C space.
Yeah. Where they've nailed it as well is...
But, you know, we're doing great things with it already. So I'm sure it's just going to blossom into something incredible.
Yeah, and they they've nailed it, like with the upsell. So obviously, like if you're using a Big Green Egg, they sell the coal for the Big Green Egg. So if you're using that thing every day, you're going through 2 sacks of Big Green Egg coal, you know, a week. You know, their continuity and their
like
consumable products are insane. Yeah, I mean, everything they have complements actually using that product. It's really smart.
Jobs to be done. This is something we talk about all the time on the podcast, which is like, you know, and your brand fits in perfectly with this jobs to be done. You want a high quality green egg to be cooking your ribeye. First of all, I just want to listen to you talk more about food. I feel like it's you know, Gordon Ramsay just
why don't I have you? I'll have you on my cooking podcast, and we'll get you on a line.
I like it. Can you call me a fucking donkey? No.
Yeah. Idiot sandwich.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
I feel like we haven't sworn enough for 2 Brits on this podcast. You know, we're like trying to like turn it down.
It's been pretty clean so far, I gotta say. Guys, I wanted to ask you guys about your goals. Sorry, go ahead.
Just a reminder, you started with cherries.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did start with that. We started right out of the gate pretty strong. I wanted to. So one of my last podcasts I did with a guy. Built 3 different watch companies to over 10 million. Ronnie Tage is his name, and their big secret. He's an Indian guy, but he came to Canada early. But his whole focus has been on international markets. They sell into 77 different markets. He basically, his whole thing is sort of like acquiring content sites in less competitive markets. In order, like review sites, for instance, for watches. I guarantee there's a huge content play going on with knives as well. And I also noticed that you guys aren't available in Canada right now. So I wanted to know whether you had thoughts about like scaling the brand internationally, because it seems like something that could sell anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so
it's mainly just supply chain for us right now. We're trying to dial that in. Obviously, COVID blew us back a little bit. Things kind of got slowed down.
We broke out into the UK once, didn't we? And it was like one of them things where it's like, okay, we were having success in the US, and we were like, right, let's try and break out to the UK because it's like a similar market. But yeah, just fulfillment, and you need a team out there. Yeah, it was just exactly. It kind of was overwhelming our project in the US, and that's kind of where we're at now. It's like it's such a big, broad market that it's not worth compromising our position right now in the US to kind of like spread our butter too thin on the toast.
Yeah, I mean it's going to happen. It's just it's just taking a little longer than expected. Just mainly because of supply chain. Again, it's such an expensive product as well. It's not like a dollar gadget from China. It's like it really is expensive on our end as well. So it's
just holding the stock alone. I mean, we barely got enough stock for this launch that we've just done before we can do our second round, which will still have to be in the US because we need to, we have an obligation to the people that have got 3 empty holes in their knife box.
Nice.
Very cool. So one of the questions that Eric likes to ask on this podcast, I'm going to do this time, is if you guys had a $50,000 grant for your business, what would you use it for, like today?
It would have to be like our 4th one, because we've blown for a few.
Oh yeah, your fourth grant.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not government grant, but loan. Yeah.
No, but
well, this is not a loan. This is just a $50K cash investment in your business. Where do you put it right now?
I guess probably launch another line of knives. I would say. Yeah.
See, I disagree.
Here we go.
You're gonna get
I disagree now. So I personally wouldn't. See, that's always been mine and George's biggest problem. Is when we started this company, we wanted the full range. We wanted everything. We wanted to sell it rather than just focusing on a chef's knife and blowing that up, which is what we should have done. Moving on to Amazon and other channels, we were like, right, we want the full 6-piece set off the bat. We had no money, no capital. So for me personally, I don't think for like Jordan's saying, it's such an expensive product that would not be enough money for us. For me, it would go into building out our team. The influencer marketing for Instagram right now has been absolutely like key, not so much from a direct sales point of view, from a content point of view, the content that we're getting daily basis. Yeah, I mean, we're sending, we got a girl, Laura, that's on board, and she handles all of our influencer marketing right now, and she's got these. Whereas me and Jordan before, we were trying to do it ourselves, and we were paying people like $1,000 for a post, and then we'd get like one sale, and we'd be like, hang on a minute, where's the return on investment, like what we get with Facebook ads? So for me,
are you whitelisting them? Are you whitelisting them and putting budget into them as well?
We used to be. Now we're just solely finding people, building relationships with them. We have a great girl on board
package, like a welcome package where they receive the knives. Lifetime
promise of future products.
But what I mean by whitelisting are you getting them to add your business, your account ID to their account so that you can actually put budget behind their posts?
That's something.
Yes. So integrating.
That'll dominate for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have seen another knife brand doing that, using the celebrity, their pages and running their knives from their pages. So we haven't got too deep into that, but that's definitely something we need to, pay better attention to.
And I guess that's what I'm saying with if we had a grant like that, that's where it would go. It would go towards broadening things that are more automated, like Manychat, looking at, are you familiar with Henry, boosting referral programs like that? That for me is where the money would go.
You cut out there,
Focusing on
Oliver.
the product
Ollie,
that we
you
do
cut
have
out for a
rather than
little bit.
broadening that.
You cut out with your
Where
point there. I want to
did
know
you
what
get
it
to?
was.
So I was just saying that's where I would put that kind of money into, would be bringing people on board to dominate things like Manychat for us, the influencer marketing, setting up things like viral loops, and really kicking the shit out of our referral program, and pushing incentive behind it there, and sticking with the product that we got. We don't need more knives. We got enough knives.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was getting a little excited, I admit, but
Jordan loves the knives. He wants
another thing we actually do want to release, which I would probably consider the money for as well, is like a cooking academy. So we actually want to add a more, like a continuity program into the business, where we actually have like a chef academy where they can sign up and get like monthly cooking and training videos that they can follow along. So
I love that, knife skills and things.
Yeah, so this is actually in the works. You heard it first. The Bokashi Academy is actually in the works. We have a chef on board. We have a location. We're due to be filming in the next 30 days. So so look out for that one.
You guys should talk to Dan here. We're currently doing a test pilot with one of our clients for an education platform. So
okay.
There may be something there, but Dan, maybe follow up with some ideas.
And definitely on the influencer side, like we're building these third-party brands where we're combining influencer posts with landing pages that are sort of off the main brand domain, that allow you to really leverage all the power of influencer posts, and then all the power of content. We're doing it with a watch brand right now that's just like adding massive amounts to the ROAS.
That's amazing. Love to hear more about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's connect on that. I know Kyle's got to run, so I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the cast today. I think there's a ton of value in here. I can tell that we're from the same background, from the same mindset. It's so cool to see you guys just dominating. I think you got a lot of potential to go.
Appreciate you having us. It was fun.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Okay. We'll see you around. Make sure you go to directtoconsumer.co to sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having us. Yeah.
Find us on Spotify and Apple and all the other great places as well. Cheers, guys. Peace.